Hi there team, and welcome to video number 5. In this video we're diving into lifestyle and the one percenters, okay? So the things more so outside of your training that can really make a difference with your performance. It's all too common that athletes train really hard, you know, they've got pretty good nutrition, they're doing that side of things right, but they sort of plateau with their performance, or they can't quite get into that next level of sort of athleticism, whatever it is, to go the distance or go as far as they want to go. And what I always find when I look at someone and they're not quite where they want to be or can't quite get where they want to be, 9 times out of 10 it's the stuff outside of the gym, or the stuff going on in their head, or the stuff that's not so obvious, which is really limiting their performance. So I've drawn a nice diagram here, and it's very simple to understand, but it's not the only way we can do it. I'm sure there are multiple ways we could structure this, but this is just one structure that makes sense, that you should be able to follow. And if you're looking at it, you should be able to see if your life looks like this, or if your life looks slightly different, and you know, you might be able to find somewhere that's lacking. If you're a coach, then this is obviously your athlete. You're looking at your athlete and areas you can help try and improve them. So how the diagram works, we've pretty much got the macro in the middle, the big picture, that's in the black, and then it's like layers on an onion, you could say. The next layer is the red, okay, and that's more of a meso picture. And then for some of them we've got blue, which is getting a little bit more micro, and then the further out we go, the more detailed it becomes, and the more, I guess, minute and probably overlooked it becomes as well. So with our macro picture, we've got 4 things, okay? We've got at the top the training program, okay? Next up on the side, recovery, down the bottom, mindset, and on the opposite side, lifestyle. So those are 4 sort of main areas of your athlete's life, or your life, that we want to start looking in towards. And you might be thinking there's more, and there is more. This is just 4 boxes that we can place things into to start growing an idea. Some of them could be in other boxes, that's cool. This is the template we're using and we're going with. So if we look at recovery and we come down to the second layer, you can see a few things that are part of recovery, okay? Nutrition, preventative rehab and active recovery, okay? Obviously we've got other things in there like sleep, all these other things that you could list around there that contribute to recovery. If we were going into lots of detail, you could then go to the next layer of nutrition and really start getting serious. As a coach, I start to outsource. Once we start to get into some of these areas, that's where I start to outsource, alrighty? So coaches aren't experts at everything, okay? We sort of specialize in one area. We've got a general idea, we specialize in one area, and then we have to outsource. Nutrition is one of those things we're probably gonna outsource, okay? Send them off to a specialist. So that's the recovery side of things. Coming down to the bottom, we've got mindset. We've got competitive mindset and general attitude. Mindset is a huge topic, obviously, a very huge topic. Once again, as a coach, this is where you can get in, whether it's sports psychologists, if you want to go down that route, it could be a more holistic or spiritual approach. You could work with NLP, hypnotists. It's very deep, it's a very deep subject, and it could be little triggers within an athlete, it could be the mindset they take into competition, it could be just their general attitude. They might just have a bad attitude, they might have ego problems, whatever it is, it's very, very surprising the little things you can fix here which allow them to train and recover better. Alrighty, like I said, they're all interlinked to a degree. I know a lot of people they can't mentally handle stress right, or they interpret things as stress when a lot of people would just interpret it as nothing, and that decreases their recovery, okay? So if they're stressed, they're releasing stress hormones, and all of a sudden they're not recovering as much as they'd like to, they can't train as much as they'd like to, or as hard as they'd like to, and once again, within that space of a year or a season, their results aren't as good as they could be. And once again, that's a limiting factor that's stopping them in the big picture. Cool. So that's the mindset side of things. Like I said, again, a very deep rabbit hole if you start going down that rabbit hole. On the other side, we've got lifestyle. Again, huge. Like that encompasses everything the person is doing. We've put 3 things on it though. Hobbies, job, relationships. These things massively affect your ability to train at the highest level. Hobbies, we'll just get this one sort of out the way. That's the stuff, I guess, what you do in your spare time. Do you like to sit down and read? For a hobby, I don't know, do you go scuba diving? Whatever you do outside of the norm that kind of entertains you, is that conducive to you being the best athlete you can be? We're talking about for a competitive athlete. If you're just recreational or you just want to have a bit of fun with CrossFit, these little things aren't the end of the world, okay? But if you're very serious about getting to the top or being the best you can be, you know, seeing what you are capable of, physically capable of, these things need attention, okay? If you like to do kayaking, you know, 30, 40 kilometers in the weekends, maybe that's not the best idea for your competitive CrossFit. Just saying. Your job, that's another one that affects a lot of people. You need to earn money, right? So how do you go about earning your money? Obviously, I coach a lot of people. I monitor their heart rate variability. The highest cause of stress in people is money related, job, work related. So that's probably one of the biggest things when it comes to lifestyle. Is your job conducive to you becoming the best athlete you can be and performing at the highest level you can perform at? It could be time frame. You might work 10-hour days and you might not just have the time to train. It might even be in an office, but you just might not have the time. You know, mentally you might just be numb, and that might really be screwing up your training. You could be working short hours, but very physically demanding, and once again, if you're putting into your work, you might not be putting into your training. The other thing where our job and our mindset tied together, if you're not enjoying your work, it's going to bring you down. You're just not going to have that passion and energy for life. You know, going to a job every day you don't enjoy, once again, you're going to under-recover. You're not going to have the energy you need to sustain hard, heavy training. The one at the bottom there, relationships, is probably underlooked for a lot of people. I've coached a number of people who have been in good relationships, healthy relationships on the whole. But if you go under the skin and have a look, you know, you peel a layer back, their relationships are what's holding them back. Whether it is, you know, they spend a lot of time, or they feel like they have to spend a lot of time with their partner, which takes away from training. It could be a not so good relationship, okay? It's obviously stressful. Whatever it is, the dynamic between two people, whether it's an intimate relationship or even friendship groups, if the dynamic's not there, if the stress isn't there, it's a negative stress. We're gonna under-recover, we're not gonna perform as well. These things can't be overlooked. I would suggest that some people out there are not performing at their best because they are in a relationship that's not for them. And you know, it's a hard pill to swallow. It shouldn't be, but it is. But if you are really serious about this, and you should be because it's your life, then you need to start making changes with all of these things. You know, even your job, I wouldn't hesitate to quit a job and pursue your dream, pursue what you want to do within the competitive CrossFit world. Other things with the lifestyle that we could add in is like your environment, where you live. You know, I currently coach an athlete and she lives in the middle of nowhere. She's got no hands-on coaches near her. So when it comes to coordination, technical work, which we'll get to up in the programming part, she's got no one that can physically be there with her, and she suffers because of it majorly. We've had athletes as well go full-time athlete. They've moved sort of away from all the distractions and everything like that. They've quit their job, they've gone full-time athlete, you know, sponsored so they can afford to live, and everything's just crumbled down around them because they sort of got there, they trained, and then in their spare time they were flat. They they didn't have their hobbies, they didn't have work, they didn't have other things, you know, just to keep them going or give them the right balance in life. So your environment's crucial. All of it's crucial, but I'm just pointing out these things so that it starts to sink in and make sense. At the top here, we've got the training program, and I guess this is the most obvious part. So we're gonna peel back a few extra layers so it becomes less obvious. So the first layer we go to is capacity and efficiency, and we talked about this a lot in the last video. There's two ways to get fitter, right? Get better capacity, become more efficient with what you've got, okay? Going back to that car analogy. If we branch off in the capacity region, again, there's a couple of ways to look at it. Most people will say energy systems. If you're a serious CrossFit coach, you'll say time domains, which I don't exactly agree with. But what I've come up with here is just some ideas. We've got strength endurance, power endurance, muscle endurance, and cardiovascular. Once again, there's heaps of ways to structure it. You could go with the energy system route, ATP-PC, sort of your lactate, your aerobic, whatever it is, that's the body's taking movement out of it. That's the body's physical capabilities at a more cellular level. What's happening for the body to produce energy, produce ATP to continue working? We need to train that. That needs to be a huge part of the training program. On the efficiency side, like we talked about last week, that's more movement coordination, so you're not wasting the energy that your body's producing. And I've built a chart which is called the skill strength chart. I haven't shown it to you, I'm not going to show it to you. If you come to one of the Underground RX training camps, you'll see it. But we can differentiate the two, and then using the chart, we can decide at what time of the season and when to use which movements to logically get the best result overall, okay? It doesn't always work logically, but it gives us a good base template to go off of. Anyway, moving up with the efficiency stuff. Now this is where it gets a little bit deeper. We've got gymnastics, weightlifting, metabolic conditioning, okay? That could be, for metabolic conditioning, traditional CrossFit, wall balls, box jumps, whatever it is. You could break this up however you want. Within the weightlifting, you could then go like strongman, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, like bodybuilding style, whatever you want to do. This is just basic way of breaking it up. So for weightlifting, what we've done, we've gone another layer, and I've just written some examples: bench press, snatch, clean and jerk. Once again, you could literally list all weightlifting within CrossFit. Same if we branched off gymnastics, you know what I mean? If we added our gymnastics line, put a circle out, and then listed the movements, whether it's handstand push-ups, muscle ups, you can see how this beast is growing. So our next layer, we're just going to work off of the snatch. It's in green, I don't know if you can see it, but that says snatch. We come up. We've got the elements of the snatch, okay? And what I've written in the black, first pull, second pull, third pull, okay? So that we're now like portioning up bits of the snatch to see where an athlete is potentially falling apart within that one movement. We can go another layer further. That's the red line, and we've got the little red circle there, and it's coming off of the first pull. So which portions of the first pull are wrong? And that would be more like a checklist. So is the setup correct? And then what would be a correct setup? Is the initial pull off the ground, is the shoulders and the hips staying in line, or is the hip rising a bit quicker than the shoulder? These are that could be a checklist so that we can really nail down how to fix the first pull. And if we do that for the second pull, the third pull, ultimately we'll start molding a better lift, a better snatch. If we can fix that tiny portion, and it's like 0.001%, if we can fix that and it comes back down through the chain, a better snatch, technically they've got better at weightlifting, they've got better efficiency, boom. When it comes back to the whole, they're going to be a better athlete. So if we go to the outside of everything, I'm talking if this branched off to everything, right around the outside, and we fixed the little things, the littlest things of each thing, the whole would benefit, and you guys can now start to see how that would work. So if, like we always say with CrossFit, work on the weaknesses. And I always say, work on the weakness of the weakness. You know, if someone's not good at snatching, just doing more snatching is not going to fix them. Even if it's just, you know, the first pull of their snatch that's wrong, just doing more first pulls isn't going to fix them, technically. You need to find the trigger within them, the cue, whatever it is, that stops them doing the first pull wrong. So that's where coaching comes in. And that, you know, you could have another part of the macro with coaching, but that's where coaching comes in. Once again, if we get to the mindset side of things, there are going to be little triggers or things that happen that are sort of outside of your knowledge base. That's where you get a mindset coach in, and that they specialize in like the finest detail of the onion. Okay, I don't know if there's such a thing as a lifestyle coach, maybe a life coach. I think as a coach, you get a pretty good understanding of what someone's lifestyle should entail. Peel back the layers, go as far out you can, and try and fix the root problem, or the biggest root problem. And that's going to help the whole. Okay, so this video, lifestyle and the 1%ers, it's really about the 1%ers. It's all about going as far out and finding why, and then asking why and why and why. Keep peeling back the layers until you get to the base. Fix the base. Fix the foundation. It's like a house built on a dodgy foundation. If you keep fixing the walls and windows that break, it's going to keep happening. Fix the foundation, we can build a strong house. And that might be common sense, right? That might be common sense, but are you doing it in all these areas? Are you doing it with your nutrition? Nutrition's a massive one. And people are like, yeah, I eat well, but how well? Could it be better? You know, are there things you're doing on competition day that could be better? Do some research. Look up, you know, the effects of beetroot and beetroot juice with athletic performance. Are there little things you can be doing to get I wouldn't even say 1%, like 0.1% difference? Because when it comes to it on the day of competition, you know, 0.1 second ahead of someone is an event win. All right? You guys get the gist. I could go on forever about pretty much how intricate it gets, but look at it. Look at it, compare it to yourself. If you're a coach, compare it to your athletes. What areas are they potentially missing? What areas can you help them with? What areas do you need to get a specialist in to help them with? And as a coach, it's your job to help them with those areas. You're managing their career to a degree. You're managing their performance. And if you can't do it, get someone in, you know, to help. That's pretty much going to wrap this video up, team. Okay? The 1%ers are critical. It's everything that happens outside of the program. And as an athlete, you don't want to have to think too much. I always recommend getting a coach. If it means you have to get multiple coaches around you, do it. I know with CrossFit, it's not a professional sport. We don't get paid huge amounts of money to do this. We don't get paid, a lot of us don't get paid to do it. It comes out of our own pocket because we're passionate about it. Other Olympic sports, they have all these people around them. It's funded by the government, all that stuff. Because you're passionate, spending your money on this stuff is gonna make your life better because you love it. You know, you'd be doing yourself an injustice if you weren't to do it. But get a good coach in all areas. Make sure everything is conducive to your goal. And then you're gonna find at the end of a year, you might not notice it daily. In fact, you probably won't notice it, but over the space of a season, a year, that difference is absolutely huge, huge. And we don't even need a huge difference to jump ahead. You look at the leaderboard, it's 1 or 2 reps, 1 or 2 seconds, and we start jumping places. Imagine getting all of this fixed up, and it takes time to get in place, find the right people, but get it in place. And if you can have a huge jump over a season, that's how you see people go from 300 in the open to top 50 to top 10 at regionals. It's because they go, you know what, I'm gonna start taking this seriously. I'm gonna do all the 0.1%ers. You know, I'm gonna be doing breathing drills in the weekend whilst everyone else is watching TV. Whatever it is, all these little things count. All right, let's leave it at that. Not even gonna summarize because I've been blabbering on. The next video is on competition day, finding the zone, as they call it, finding flow. It's the more competitive mindset. It's an absolute game changer. I'm not going to teach you every single thing I know, but I'm going to give you the macro picture of what's expected to get the best performance on game day. So don't miss that video. Alright team, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.